The Den and the Tomb, the parallel of Daniel and Yahshua. The story of Daniel in the lion's den is a likeness of Yahshua, who went down to the lion's den, Hades, where he proclaimed unto the spirits in prison, like in the book of Daniel, where the messenger shut the mouths of the lion, Yahshua shut the mouth of the accuser, the roaring lion, mentioned in 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Our study starts in Daniel 6:3. Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king gave thought to setting him over the whole realm. Daniel's popularity grew great, and he distinguished himself above all the governors and satraps. Also, Yahshua's popularity grew, and he was distinguished above the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Matthew 4:25. Large crowds from Galilee and Decapolis, and Jerusalem and Judea, and the region across the Jordan followed him. John 12:18-19. Many people, because they had heard that he had performed his sign, went out to meet him. So the Pharisees said to one another, See, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him. Daniel 6:4. So the governors and satraps sought to find some charge against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find no charge or fault, because he was faithful, nor was there any error or fault found in him. Matthew 22:15-21. And the Pharisees went, and they took counsel how they might catch him in discourse. And they sent their disciples to him with those of the house of Herodas, and they were saying to him, Teacher, we know that you are true, and that you teach the way of Elohim in truth, and you do not take counsel for man, for you do not accept the persons of men. Tell us therefore, how does it seem to you? Is it lawful to give the head tax to Caesar or not? Yahshua knew their evil, and he said, Why are you testing me, you acceptors of persons? Show me a denarius of the head tax money. And they brought a denarius to him. Yahshua said to them, Whose is the image and inscription? And they were saying, Caesar's. And he said to them, Give therefore what is Caesar to Caesar, and what is Elohim's to Elohim. And when they heard, they were amazed, and they left him and departed. Several times the Pharisees and the Sadducees tried to trap Yahshua in his words, but they couldn't find any corruption in him, just as the governors did with Daniel. Daniel 6:5. Then these men said, We shall not find any charge against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his Elah. Just as in the story of Daniel, Yahshua was condemned by the law of Yahuwah, and they plotted to kill him just as the governors did with Daniel. Matthew 12:14. And the Pharisees went out, and they took counsel against him, so that they might destroy him. Daniel 6:6-16. So these governors and satraps thronged before the king, and said thus to him, King Darius, live forever. All the governors of the kingdom, the administrators, the satraps, and the counselors and advisors have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree that whoever petitions any god or man for 30 days, except you, O king, shall be cast in the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, so that it cannot be changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not alter. Therefore King Darius signed the written decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home in his upper room, and with his windows open toward Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times a day, and prayed, and gave thanks before his Allah, as was his custom since early days. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his Allah, And they went before the king and spoke concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man who petitions any god or man within 30 days except you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not alter. So they answered and said before the king that Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, does not show due regard for you, O king, or for the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. And the king, when he heard these words, he was greatly displeased with himself, and he set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men approached the king and said to the king, Know, O king, that it is the law of the Medes and Persians that no decree or statute which the king establishes may be changed? So the king gave the command, and they brought Daniel and cast him in the den of lions. But the king spoke, saying to Daniel, Your Allah, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Then a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the signets of his lords, that the purpose concerning Daniel might not be changed. After Yahshua was crucified, he was placed in the tomb in Matthew 27:57. When it was evening, a rich man from Ramtha named Joseph came, who also had been a disciple of Yahshua. This one came to Pilate and requested the body of Yahshua, and Pilate commanded that the body would be given to him. And Joseph took the body and wound it in a sheet of pure linen, and he placed it in the new tomb belonging to him, which was cut in stone. And he rolled a great stone and set it against the doorway of the tomb, and they departed. And the next day, which is after Friday sunset, the chief priest and the Pharisees who were gathered together under Pilate, and they were saying to him, O Lord, we recall that the deceiver said while he was alive, After 3 days I will arise. Command therefore to guard the tomb until the 3rd day, lest his disciples should come and steal it in the night, and say to the people that he is risen from the grave, and the last deception be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, You have guards, go guard it as you know how. But they went to guard the tomb, and they together with the guards sealed the stone. Notice in this passage how the stone entry was sealed, just as the lion's den in Daniel was sealed. Daniel 6:19-23. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried out with a lamenting voice to Daniel. The king spoke, saying to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living Allah, has your Allah who you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My Allah sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, O king, I have done no wrong before you. Now the king was exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no injury whatsoever was found on him, because he believed in his Allah. We know that Satan is considered the lion and the accuser that constantly accuses the brethren. In Revelation 12:10, And I heard a voice from heaven that said, Now is the deliverance, and the power, and the kingdom of our Elohim, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them night and day before Yahweh. Daniel was cast in the lion's den, which should have been a death sentence, but he was saved by Yahweh. So when the stone was rolled away, he was found living. Yahshua suffered and died for all of us, and was found to be a worthy sacrifice for us all. And when the stone was rolled away, Yahshua was resurrected. Yahshua went down to the lion's den, Hades, as in 1 Peter 3:18-22. Because even Mashiach once suffered for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you Elohim, having been put to death indeed in flesh, but made alive in the Ruach, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison, who were disobedient at one time, when the patience of Elohim waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is, 8 beings, were saved through water, which figure now also saves us, immersion, not putting away of the flesh, but the answer of good conscience towards Elohim through the resurrection of Yahshua HaMashiach, who having gone into Shemayim is at the right hand of Yahuwah. Messengers and authorities and powers have been subjected to him. As you can see from the study, the story of Daniel in the lion's den is a prophetic parallel of the coming Mashiach, who would face death for us all and be found worthy by the Father of us all, Yahuwah. All praises and glory given to Yahshua HaMashiach, who came in the name above all names, Yahuwah. Thank you for joining us again for this study, and may the blessing of Yah be upon you all. And until next time, Shalom.